Sometimes what we're feeling isn't just a tough day or even a tough week. It's something that stretches deeper than we realize. It hides behind fake smiles and tired eyes. Major Depressive Disorder, or MDD, doesn't always arrive with breakdown or dramatic scene. It sneaks in quietly, slowly dimming your inner light until even the simplest tasks feel impossible. It's more common than people think, and yet it's also painfully misunderstood. It doesn't always show up the way people expect. It doesn't always scream in the middle of a crowd. Sometimes it just gently, persistently pulls you away from yourself. Today, we'll explore 8 signs that might be pointing to something more serious than just being in a funk. If you recognize yourself in any of these, please remember, this doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. And healing, while not always easy, is absolutely possible. One of the most recognizable, yet still underestimated signs of depression is a sadness that never quite goes away. It lingers like a storm that never passes. Sometimes light, sometimes heavy, but always present. It's not about having a rough moment or crying during a sad movie. It's a weight on your chest that's with you the moment you wake up. And it doesn't lift no matter how many distractions you chase. You smile because you think you should. You tell people you're fine because it's easier. But deep down, you feel emotionally hollow. That unshakable emptiness is not just tiredness. It's a sign that something deeper may be going on. Next, there's a vanishing act of joy. Things you used to love, the hobbies, the people, the music, feel strangely muted now. Activities that once made you feel alive now feel like obligations, or worse, burdens. You start turning down plans, not because you don't care, but because pretending to care is too exhausting. You find yourself slowly drifting from the parts of your life that made you you. It's not about laziness or lack of motivation. It's that your emotional world feels frozen, like nothing matters anymore, and that's a powerful red flag. Then there's sleep, which no longer brings rest. For some, it means lying awake for hours, trapped in your own racing thoughts. For others, it means oversleeping, spending more hours in bed than you want to admit, yet still feeling drained. Whether it's insomnia that keeps you staring at the ceiling or sleeping excessively as an escape, your relationship with rest is no longer peaceful. The fatigue doesn't go away with more hours of sleep, because the exhaustion is not just physical, it's emotional, too. Your appetite also begins to shift in quiet but alarming ways. You might start skipping meals entirely without even noticing, or suddenly find yourself eating constantly to fill a void that has nothing to do with hunger. It can feel like your body is responding to your pain in a way you can't control. Weight might fluctuate unexpectedly, and yet it's rarely addressed with compassion. People often notice a physical change, but overlook the emotional cause. And you might feel guilt for something that's not your fault. But the truth is, your body is simply trying to cope with what your heart is carrying. Fatigue becomes a full-time presence. Not the, I stayed up too late kind of tired, but a soul-deep exhaustion that makes every single task feel like a mountain. Getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, making a phone call, it all feels incredibly difficult. People might assume you're being dramatic or just not trying hard enough, but they have no idea how heavy the invisible backpack you're carrying is. The truth is, depression is exhausting, and that exhaustion is real. It's not about being weak. It's about being completely drained mentally and emotionally. And then come the thoughts, the brutal ones, the inner voice that picks you apart, constantly whispering that you're not enough, that you've let everyone down, that you're a burden. It twists even the smallest mistake into a moral failure. It replays memories you'd rather forget and convinces you that you're unlovable, unworthy, and invisible. These feelings of guilt and worthlessness aren't just being hard on yourself. They're dangerous symptoms of a disorder that attacks your self-worth at its core. And what's worse, it often convinces you that these lies are facts. Then there's the fog, the mental haze that makes focusing feel like wading through molasses. Your brain feels slow, disconnected. You forget what you were doing. You reread the same sentence again and again. Conversations blur. Tasks that used to take 5 minutes now take forever, or don't happen at all. And you're frustrated, maybe even ashamed. But it's not that you're lazy. It's that your mind is overwhelmed, under siege, and too tired to process things the way it used to. And finally, the darkest sign and the most urgent to address, the thoughts of death or wanting to disappear. These aren't always loud, and they don't always involve a specific plan. Sometimes it's just a quiet wish to not exist anymore, a longing for the pain to stop, a hope that maybe if you fell asleep, you wouldn't have to wake up and face it again. These thoughts are terrifying and very real. If you are experiencing them, or someone you know is, it's absolutely critical to speak up. Even if it feels like no one will understand, there are people who do. There are people who care. Help is out there, and it can save lives. These 8 signs are not character flaws. They are not weaknesses. They are signals, calls for care, for understanding, for support. If you see yourself in any of these signs, I want you to know you are not alone. You are not broken. You are not beyond help. Depression is a real illness, but recovery is possible. And while the journey can be hard, it's one you don't have to walk alone. Please reach out, whether it's to a loved one, a mental health professional, or even just someone who will listen, because your story matters. You matter. And if this video resonated with you, if it helped name the feelings you've been silently carrying, please consider sharing it. Someone else might need this just as much as you did. And if you want to be part of a community that talks openly, honestly, and with compassion about mental health, hit that subscribe button and join us here at Depr. Let's keep having these conversations, because talking about it, that's the first step toward healing.